Come along with us and see how we plant our veggies along with beneficial flowers and herbs, and they all grow together so well and they benefit each other to be happier and healthier. And we're going to be doing this in our raised bed, so come along and see what we're up to. So if you want to have more fruits and veggies and less pests naturally, companion flowers are an excellent choice. And today we're going to take a look at a few examples and how they work. And if you've never been here before, my name is Marlene. Welcome to my home and garden channel. So these right here are some of my beefsteak tomatoes from a previous season, and they are so healthy. They're not fully mature yet, but you can see how good they're looking already. And these flowers that we're going to put in these herbs, they actually help to attract the right insects and keep away the bad ones as well. So we'll take a look at those in detail. But over here, these are some of the seeds that I'm planting from. We're planting them directly. They're direct sows, as we call it. And you'll see over a 6-week period, everything progresses. And these are some labels right here, because we always want to make sure that we know what we're planting where, especially if it's from direct sow. So these right here this is the garden soil that we used. Of course, you can use whatever brand you like. These just happen to be on sale, so we got those. We also have some black cow manure there, but again, you can use whatever one you like that works best for your garden. And this was right after the winter, so you can see that, everything is, work needing to be done, work in progress, but we're moving along today to get this done. These are some limbs that we had from a myrtle tree that we had to put away. And over here we have a salvia, which we're going to be talking about some of these plants in detail. This is a wonderful perennial that comes up every time. And over here, this is my husband. He's working really hard to get the soil tilled over. And over the winter, you'll notice that your soil tends to shrink down. It gets compressed. You want to always turn it over, make sure that it's light and fluffy, and it really is a good place for the plants to grow and spread out their roots. Over here, I just wanted to mention that if you are using, manure like black cow manure or any other ones like that, make sure that it has a good smell. It should smell normal, no funny smell coming from there. If it does, you need to return it because it will burn your plants and mess them up. Over here, now I'm just going in and getting the garden soil out. And the same rule applies here too, because on occasion that can happen that, it's gone bad. Over here is my little chair. I like to sit on it because it helps to save my back. So I recommend you could do the same too if you ever, wanted to do that, or get a bench or a kneeling pad or something. So over here now, the soil has been fully tilled over. You can see how wonderful it looks. It looks really rich, nice, healthy, ready for some planting to take place. So just wanted to also say that if you were interested to see how we, made this raised bed from cinder blocks, I'll go ahead and link this previous video at the end for you. You can go ahead and check it out once you're finished here, so you can see how we did it. You could maybe try that if you don't have a raised bed in your yard. So over here, these are some cosmos. This is a very nice flower to plant in your garden. We're doing this one from seed. I decided to do it to save money this time. And you can see the colors there, but this one is from a previous year. And these plants are wonderful. They're really no fuss. They don't take a lot of, attention. They come up quite easily, and they attract parasitic wasps. And parasitic wasps are good to keep away the hornworm caterpillar that will bother your tomatoes, and they can really wreak havoc on them. But when this is around, it brings those wasps, and the wasps keep them away. So I'm going to go ahead first and start sowing the pumpkin. And I just typically put like 3 close together. And that's just how my mom taught me, to do it that way, and it works really well. And I typically plant 6 or sometimes 9 of them, and I put them towards one end of the garden so they can run off to the side and I can kind of control them. Of course, I don't have all of them growing. I take a look and see which ones are healthier, after they've come up for a while. And then I'll just thin it out, keep the ones that are healthier so we can have, enough space to accommodate them, and they can be healthier, not be all competing for a smaller space. And of course, I always like to add my labels in to make sure I know what's coming up, when they're just popping up. And as the time goes by, you'll get to know them even just by looking at the first few leaves that are on there. This is one that I had planted, in my starter kit, just to test it out, because typically direct sows like, your pumpkins and your peas, they say when you plant them and then transplant them out in this state, it doesn't really get them further ahead. Over time, eventually they all catch up and they meet up at the same place. So it just depends on, what you prefer. But I thought I'd test it out. So over here, I'm adding in my beans. And I love to plant beans because beans is very good for so many plants. And the reason is because it actually produces it increases the nitrogen in the soil. It's one of the few things out there, part of the legume family, your peas and your beans, where they're able to pull the nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into a form in the soil that your plants can actually absorb. So they're very good with that, and almost every single year I plant beans, and I highly recommend them, especially if you're a beginning gardener, or you wanted to do that for kids. It's excellent because you pretty much are almost guaranteed, unless you don't water them and no rain falls, then you wouldn't have anything. But other than that, they're great, and you can reap a harvest from them up to 3 or sometimes even 4 times for the growing season. So I love them, and they're quite inexpensive too. And most kids, they tend to like green beans with their food. So I'd say definitely go for it if you've ever, thought that you might want to do that. And of course, label in place, so we move on to the next thing. And I just wanted to show you my salvia right here, just to talk a little bit about it. As you brush your hand against it, it just smells so nice. It's a part of the mint family, and it is very fragrant. It is a perennial, and in the springtime, it produces beautiful flowers that you're seeing here, which brings in early pollinators, and I just absolutely love it. And I've had this one for so many years, and not only does it help to bring pollinators in, but it repels certain type of things that may come to bother your garden. Now, I love to have rabbits when they come along in my front garden. Whatever I plant there, they don't like them, so they don't really bother them. They come for the cut grass, and that's it. But like this, plants like this that have a heavy smell like mint, like salvia, and the leaves are also very kind of heavy, they're kind of rough, so they don't really fool around it too much. So when you have it next to your plants, it tends to kind of keep them away. Plants like the stink bug as well too, they don't like plants that are kind of fragrant like that. I guess they figure they should be the ones that's doing all the smell. I don't know, but they don't like them too much. So of course I go ahead and I put that in there as well, to keep those off. So over here I have some thyme as well, and I love thyme. I love to cook with it. When it flowers, of course, it brings in pollinators that are beneficial, so that's another good one to have. And things like praying mantis, which go in and they take out things like aphids and so on. I hope it doesn't gross you out. I'm sorry if it does, but plants like those where they can kind of hide under there, it kind of helps to, bring them into your garden. So this is the last set of beans that I'm putting in here, and we're good to go with that part of it. So we're going to go ahead now and get them watered. And you can let me know in the comments if you like to water from a watering can. I personally do because it's very relaxing. Of course, if I'm rushing, I'll get the hose with the sprinkler head on and just give them a light sprinkle. But I just like to use my watering can. I like how it sounds. I like how it feels. I just love all of that. So let me know, what works best for you. Of course, most times I try to plant, especially if they're larger seeds, I try to plant them a day or two before it rains. So that way, God takes care of that for me. I don't even have to, worry about watering them at that point. So this is them right here. 3 weeks in is where we are right now. And we're going to go ahead and get our little rods. And we got these at our garden center, quite inexpensive. We're just going to put them in so we can get our trellis lined up before I put anything else in here, so we know exactly what's going where and how to manage our space. And there's so many options for trellises. They have the mesh ones, you can make the wire ones, you can just use a pole, like this here, whatever you like that's going to help to support your plant, works best. So over here, these will be the cosmos, and these are 6 weeks after because, they small seeds, so they take a little bit longer to come up. They were like 3 weeks ahead. We had some beets in here as well too. So we're going to go ahead and get these cosmos planted out. You can see how they're looking there. So we're going to go ahead and ease them out. And of course, whenever I try to, transplant my things, I try to make sure that I have enough soil under the bottom, so that way there's less transplant shock for the roots because they're fully supported. There's water around them. The roots are still intact. We just go ahead and cover them around and just press in. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just so looking forward to this cosmos coming up, and I know it's going to be great. And you also want to put them towards the edges of your garden because, of course, if insects are coming in, you want them to meet up with those first, so it's easier for them. Next comes Marigold, and this one is a powerhouse. It truly is, because this plant is good for so many things. I would say sometimes it smells not the nicest one in the world, but it definitely attracts, like ladybugs right here. And ladybugs are good for taking out aphids, and aphids can be such a pest in the garden. So marigold, it has its own smell, not as nice as like the mint or the salvia and so on, but it definitely works to, keep all of these pests away. And another good thing about marigold is that it actually not only attracts pollinators, like butterflies and so on, but it also keeps away nematodes. Nematodes are some tiny little worms that can go into the roots of your plants and really damage them and make them unhealthy. And there are other plants that do it too, but for the ones that are common to most gardeners, this one would be the one to get. And you can even grind out the leaves at the end of this growing season and have it stay in the soil to keep nematodes away. So I really can't say enough about marigolds. I really, really love them, and I think even if you don't get any other beneficial flower for your vegetable garden, I would say get some of these. And over time, you can get the seed heads and they'll get volunteer ones coming up and so on. So now it is time to plant my tomatoes. So now I had planted some earlier in the season. We had a little bit of a mishap with them. So these are actually from my sister. So she was kind enough to give me some of hers. And I have some other ones sowed as well too, but they're a little bit behind. They're not ready for transplanting yet. So we'll go ahead with hers. These are cherry tomatoes. I'm hoping that my beefsteaks will come up in time so I can get them in as well. So we're starting off with these here. And remember that, tomatoes, they like to be planted deep, because the little hairs, become roots when you put them down, and it makes them sturdier, they're healthier, they're happier. So you always want to give them a good start, when you're doing them. You can let me know what's your favorite tomato type that you like to grow. If you like beefsteak like me, you like cherry tomatoes, you like Roma, or all the other different types that are out there. But I just love putting them in a fairly easy crop to grow. And I just wanted to say that, if you do love gardening, you love flowers, fruits and veggies, I would highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell twice so you never miss an upload. And it really makes me so happy when you do that. So over here we have some habanero peppers, some tomatoes, more marigolds, and we have some sweet alyssum. So other things coming up that we're going to add in. So this is what it looks like over here now. At this point, this is where we are with everything that has come in so far. You can see my beans coming up there. And this was the very next day, so just to show you how they're looking here. You can leave me your comments what you think it looks like so far, if you like it, if you would try this. The beets for some reason weren't holding up so well, so we'll take a look again and see how they're doing. Down to the end here we have some more beans, and I'm going to be planting in a lot more beans as the season goes by. We have more marigolds, and my husband, he went ahead and he put in some malanga root, so those should be popping up soon, and they're going to be so gorgeous. Of course, I'm going to definitely give you a follow-up, and I'll say sweet alyssum, guys, I highly recommend it. It also helps to attract ladybugs, which helps to keep the aphids away. This right here is a beautiful tree mint or shrub mint plant that a wonderful lady in South Florida gave me on a recent trip down there, and it smells so nice. But I'm keeping it in a separate pot because I'm going to overwinter it. I'm not going to let that one die on me at all because it's tropical. So just to say that, you can check out some more information on companion planting. There's so many more details on it. There's also Three Sister where they mention planting 3 things together: corn, beans, and squash. But I'd say even though you're looking at those things, don't let them box you in so that you don't want to plant what you really want to plant. Just find a few things that you do like, that you want to grow, and that work really well together, and just go for it. So I want to thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing and for all of your support to my channel. Don't be shy to hit the membership button or the super chats or, super thanks, whatever you like. I appreciate it. I thank you so much, and I do hope to see you in the next video. Take care.